give an update about the community center fall craft fair.
Good evening, and thank you for everybody for your time. On October 18th, 10 to 3, the community center will present our annual fall craft fair. We will have something of interest for everyone, plus crafters. And for those of you that like to get something specifically free, we have gift cards for the city raffle off, which were a big hit the past couple of years. We will have some of your old favorites, along with wood novelties, gold milk lotions, jewelry, jams, jellies, photography, pure maple syrup, hot blankets, and many, many more items of interest. Hope to see you there to support this matter.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, also, I just want to remind everyone about the 50/50 raffle tickets. If you have not purchased them, if you'd like to, you can do them now. And we also have snacks and water in the back on the pool table, so please pick the shelves. Up first, we're going to have North Utica 6th Ward Councilman Joe Betrus give us an update.
Thank you guys all for coming. If there's anybody that's new that doesn't know me, feel free to reach out to me. I can send my contact information. I'll give you my card, and I'm always there for obvious. And I really welcome everybody who's not from this district who doesn't really come to these meetings here. It's great to have you on the other side of the bridge. And we'd like you every month to our meetings. So I'll just be quick, just give you a quick update, and then I'll be back up to the other candidates. So the first thing I want to mention, green waste pickup. Okay, first thing we're talking, 10/5 starts. That would be in North Utica. Basically starts your normal pickup day. So ours is on Sunday. So it goes. You can put anything you want, not anything. Green waste to the curb without being in a bucket from 5 to 11/9. Okay, and please remember, after 11/9. There may be, on occasion, they may go one more week, but after that, it's done. So just try to follow that rule, okay? The other thing is the Exit 31 project. So I'm sure you guys are all aware of that. Be aware, on the news, they'll be putting it out there. Look, they're gonna have another meeting to go over, the 790 extension. The state has been very, very good with that. I was on a conference call last week, and people came in here. I know Ron and a lot of us have came, that they've shown, what they want, and they've gave you a chance to put what you think. There's the stuff that I really wanted done. It's been obviously it was the most expensive stuff that shut down. I want to see an extension from 790 right through Dyke Road. To eliminate everything on Herkimer Road, but obviously that was one project that is on hold there, and that's clear going to happen. The other one, which I'm kind of glad it's not happening, is people wrote they wanted to have the throughway exit down by Walmart, which we don't want that. We want people to come to our city and exit on our north street and come to our businesses and go all over the place. So just be aware that they are having 2 more meetings. And be aware that starting in the spring, those 2 bridges on North Genesee Street, those are going to be redone. So, we're going to be a couple of years in North Genesee Street with lanes of traffic. So, be patient. I know there's talking sidewalks and stuff under there. Obviously, nobody's going to be repairing anything until that stuff is done, because it's basically going to all be new. And the other thing we talked about is, so our paving is kind of in full force. I'll let Mike Gentile talk about that too when he gets up there. So that's good. Well, you're a big cheese. So we are going through that. I noticed in North Utica, by Franco's, it's micro paving. There's is N.U.N.A. It's just we use a new paving company revenue this year. So we were a little bit behind, but they're going right to that right now. Lastly, the last week, and I kind of want to apologize because I know I was back last week. We had last month. We had we had guys from Deerfield coming here. They were supposed to come here and talk about the Pathstone project that's getting built by 12 North. It's an apartment complex. Instead, they talked about that very little. They should have been explaining that it's not low-income housing, that it is workforce housing. They should have been explaining that stuff, which they didn't. You had another person talking about another project that is being done probably years away, which borders our district. This Pathstone project, okay, is up by 12 North. It's not really, doesn't really affect us. But anybody that's interested, there is a public hearing on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Deerfield Town Hall, if anybody wants to go to that. And then, other than that, I will take any of your questions. If anybody's got any concerns, you know I'm here every month, 5:30 to 6:30 before our normal meetings. And thanks again for coming. Questions?
Just a quick reminder to folks, if you have any questions that you wanted to put down on index cards, we'll come around shortly and pick those up for you. Up next, we have County Legislator for the 23rd District, Mike Gentile, to give us an. Okay, all right, so we're gonna have County Legislator from the 8th District, Flisnik, give us an update.
No, I have. Great crowd tonight. Really briefly, I want to get to it. One of 23 legislators, each legislator in the county represents about 10,000 constituents. I represent 6-1 North Utica. All of them are a good portion of the town of Royston. I typically speak about resolutions, county business. I'll get to that and I'll be really quick. But first of all, let me talk about an important event that recently happened. What is going on in our country with the politics? Obviously, we all know about Charlie Kirk, the assassination. My point is, rest assured, county legislators not only speak to each other, get along, we actually like each other. We might disagree on issues. After the debate, after the vote, we get along, and some of us even agree. So rest assured, we're not like Albany, and we're not like Washington. Do our best for our constituents, and hopefully you can be rest assured compared to what we've seen over the last several years with Albany and Washington. Now, county business, a lot going on. The budget will be released the second week in October by the county executive. It will give the county legislative branch about a month to go through the budget. We'll have capital project meetings. We will also have several meetings about the budget. We are able to offer amendments to modify the budget, basically looking at what we think is good about it, what is bad about it, add amendments, and then vote on those specific amendments. It's a process that is drawn out, but quite honestly, it's the most thing we do, I believe, as a county legislature. Budget is over $500 million. It's presently, this year, $549 million. There's a lot of money, but what hasn't changed in my 22 years as a county legislator is 90% of our budget is mandated by who? State and federal government. Still, there's quite a bit of money that we need to do right by the people, by our constituents, to keep services flowing and try to fund taxes. A couple of quick things, and hopefully I'm not taking what you were going to cover, Mike, but a couple of things. Recently we passed a local law on Airbnbs. There's a lot of people in our county that have Airbnbs that are getting revenue. Albany recently passed legislation to allow counties to buy in and pass local laws to be able to collect 5% revenue to be utilized towards visiting. So we did pass that. Democrats and Republicans supported that. So that did pass. And the estimate on that, as far as revenue, is about $800,000. The other thing I'll touch briefly on is N.U.N.A Field here in Utica, New York. The project was about $3 million. A lot of it was drainage, but now we're going for 2 different grants. Hopefully we'll be successful, and they might add up to about $4 million of additional revenue to be put towards Donovan Stadium, N.U.N.A Field. Hopefully that happens. We get the grants and we can make that field better than it's ever been. Obviously, we got collegiate, high school, Legion, and youth programs that utilize that. So hopefully we'll be successful. Questions about any county issues? Go ahead.
You know, probably won't be able to answer this. Stuff coming out of Washington to health benefits to people. Do you foresee a big impact on your budget for that?
I believe there will be. But again, I don't want to jump ahead because I have not seen the county executive's budget. They'll release it 12th October. At that point, he's going to be able to lay out what he thinks is the revenues coming in, what kind of cutbacks we foresee, and how it will impact our budget and our taxpayers. I gotta say, if you go back 10 years when it comes to county tax has not gone up unless you got a change in assessment, which is a positive. We want to try to keep taxes low and continue to provide services. The ledge, especially the counties that have done. I really can't answer that at this point. We're going to try to keep the property tax again level this year. And you got to be honest about it. We ended up getting a lot of COVID money, ARP money, and to the tune of $45 million. That helped us out the last couple of years. It really did. It helped keep our taxes and our bonding lower than they were. So hopefully we have some good news for you next month, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What do you mean our county taxes in? If you're in Utica, your taxes have gone up.
Valid point. Valid point. What happens, again, very complicated, and I don't want to double talk on this, but there's towns and villages, obviously, within our county. There's taxing jurisdictions within each town and each village. I think at this point we have 26 towns, and I think 17 villages, so 43 taxing jurisdictions. When it's levied, is earmarked for each municipality, equalization rate, which is set by the state, affects what each municipality pays. Very complicated. So based on equalization, that will affect whether your tax goes up or goes down. I can state last year, I believe out of the 26 towns, actually 7 or 8 went down slightly, and the rest went up a little bit. The only big changes you've seen over the years have been what we call add-ons. Add-ons are HAVA, which is the voting, and the cost for MVCC. Again, not to complicate matters, the more students you have going to MVCC, the more you pay proportionally that cost on your taxes. It is complicated.
Charges tuition though. They charges
It's
tuition.
not complicated. They pay more every year. It's pretty.
The county still pays like
Well,
50 or 60 million a
you're
year.
in Utah. proportionally a large
Very.
percent of MDCC.
What can Utica do to have that rate go up?
Tell kids not to go to MDCC. I don't think you want to do it. And the other effect people don't know about, if you have Utica kids go to a different community college, Onondaga, Herkimer, you and the county have to pay a cost for that college. So you have a lot of students that go to private school or four-year schools, they go to community colleges. So Utica, especially rural taxpayers, because where the community colleges are located, pay an additional freight. I can tell you, when that changed many years ago, voted against it. I thought we should do it equally. Across the county, including the town of Marcy and the town of Whitestone. It was voted down. That's been part of our budget for many years now. Any other questions?
You're talking about the Airbnb. Is that in effect now?
That will be in effect. That's not in effect.
Are the people supposed to self-report that, or is Airbnb?
We just hired a corporate company at $235,000. They're going to be responsible for going in and finding out who has rural and Airbnbs.
I guess the question.
There's going to be checks.
You just said you hired a company at $235,000.
No, 35.
Oh, 35.
35, yes.
So even at that, like I noticed this at the last meeting, it seems like Utica always hires out their services. Does anybody ever do the math to see if the money's coming back in to pay for that $35,000?
We estimate $800,000. And there's a fee, there's a small fee on additional to the, I believe the 5%, don't quote me on that will help pay off the 35. But again, we anticipate about $800,000, whether that happens or not. We're relying on information from people that are a lot more, quite honestly, knowledgeable than I am as a layperson and as a legislator. So
hypothetically, what happens if it's 32,000, we lost 3,000?
I'll be shocked, number one, and we got to relook at it. And I think there's a lot of people not basically on the roster to be paying what they should be paying, being in Airbnb. It's going to take a year or two to flush out, but we're here at 800,000. So if we hit 500 or 600,000 and it costs us the 35,000, we don't have the expertise to do it quite honestly. County level, that's what we tell them. Anybody else? Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks, Rick. Up next, we have County Legislator from the 23rd District, Mike Gentile, to give us a brief update.
I'll just say what Rick said. No, I will say on Renee Field, if anybody has been there this year, the playing surface, everything that's been done so far has been exceptional. So that next wave of money and grants that we're going for is everything else surrounding. So the concession stand was in a trailer this year. The bathrooms are the original bathrooms that are still metal. So the improvements on that stuff is going to be very important. With the bed tax, just like the county, the city is still waiting for the governor to pass to sign our bed tax legislation into law. At that point, the city will also be going after the Airbnb and Vermont money as well with additional legislation. So that's going to be, obviously, we're not taking from the whole county. It'll be just the city of Utica, which is still going to be a significant increase. The other thing too, since the county has invested in somebody that's going to do all the reporting, we're able to, the city, just feed off of that. So that's going to be beneficial. We don't have to have a duplicate service for that. And then in this area of North Utica, has it been brighter coming off of River Road? No, nobody noticed. Well, these lights were at least fixed for a short period of time. Hopefully they're still fixed. We'll look into that. But the lights out here, coming off were fixed. That was through some collaboration with both the city and the county. At one point, it was gonna be something where we had to tear up the whole neighborhood to fix it, but we were able to find other solutions. I know they were working for a period of time, but we'll see by the end of the night, maybe we have to go do something else. The other thing too is, Leland Ave. So I talked to the state DOT today and, talking about the North Tennessee Street project, that's obviously coming. The city has looked into the engineering department and, support from the county as well. These are going to be avoiding North Tennessee Street with the construction. So Leland Ave that is already, not in the greatest shape, we're looking at ways that we can improve that. The bridges are all state property and state responsibility, so it doesn't make sense to do, 100 feet of city, then have a bridge that's not great, then 100 feet of city again, a bridge that's not great. So talk to the state DOT, they're going to look at, what they have in funding to, potentially help and collaborate with us so we can fix Leland, because, over the next 2-3 years, when North Tennessee Street is gonna be, going through their reconstruction, it's going to be, a significant pathway. It's already heavy traffic there, especially in the mornings with schools and trucks trying to get Joe Betrus's pet peeve on, Herkimer Road. So we can do that shortcut from Leland to Words is gonna be pretty significant. So that's something else that we're working on. And then like Rick said, he gave the update and everything else. We're getting into budget time. It is something that is advocated through, I understand, the, city taxes. We've all seen an increase in our city taxes. They say, 0% property every year. So definitely can relate to that because we've seen it, but also that understanding of how it contributes to kids going to school and BCC and other community is obviously worth that investment. So yeah, I will turn it over because you got a bunch of people. Yeah, questions? Yes.
Just to be there.
Yes. Right, so we're looking at that, so we can work with the state so we can do that all together. Yes, so do all of it. We're also looking at, repairs on our end that we can do to make sure that that's efficient. But if we can figure out a way to get right down to where's that or that would be great. And then of course where's that next? So it's gonna be heavy traffic, so gonna waste. Yes.
You were just speaking about Marine Field. You said a $4 million investment, correct?
Yep, they're looking, and it's potentially mostly gonna be through grant money.
Sure. I guess I'm not familiar, so I'm just asking a question. So Marine Field, that's a professional team?
It was a professional team in the past. There's always potential of that, but our professional team with Rickett moved to Baltimore. It is going to be rated in such a way that we could bring a professional team back. That's going to take someplace like Motor World to go buy it and bring it back here. So if you're looking for a hobby.
So I guess what I'm trying to make sense of is sometimes like the grants and the money spent. So if you're talking $4 million, so the $4 million spent on the field. Okay, great. What is it going to be utilized for? You said something about MKCC or Utica College using it, correct?
So MVCC uses it, the Utica City School District uses it, Utica College, any team from 13 and up are pretty much using it. So it's getting constant use. American Legion uses it. We bring in state tournaments through American Legion every year, so it is pretty significant.
So hypothetical, what if you just said, you know what, that's valuable real estate right there, let's sell it to a house.
We can't, because it's donated land that isn't something that can be effective tax. It has to be for that purpose.
So put $4 million into it, if you Utica College, MVCC, do they pay to rent that field for use?
Yes.
Okay. So do you see the math of the $4 million coming back?
Not immediate, but like I said, it's gonna be through grant money, it's gonna be through, other things. So, I mean, it's a long-term investment, and it's an investment towards youth that's pretty significant.
I'm not taking away from that, but I look at the other parks around Utica.
And remember, this is county owned, so this is a county facility. And also through, when you look at parks around Utica, every one of them is seeing an investment towards it. Pixley Park just got a grant for $1 million, pretty significant. We just allocated money towards, Addison Miller, we allocated money towards Lincoln, we allocated money towards, Hurt. So, we're looking at every single neighborhood park just as much as we're looking at it.
Get the contracts for that, how does the money get spent?
It depends on where the money's coming from. Typically, it's a bid process for any significant work, but also, mostly through. Some of it's done in-house, what we can do.
Quick question, Utica was only that we asked about getting it cleaned up. So who's responsible for cleaning it? It's really nasty. It's a horrible sight. What's been done? Is anybody into it? Who's responsible?
So it is privately owned. It is something we're looking at. Our code has gone over there. They've been cited. I can send you any reports on that. It's one of those things where we can abate it ourselves. We're looking at court action and stuff. So, unfortunately, it's another one of those things where we have, to a degree, an absentee, landlord situation.
That's been a while.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go through everything, just to highlight this stuff.
I agree. Absolutely.
Can you speak about anything as far as like, abatements or like, as far as like vacant properties? I was in the mayor's office today, we were talking about the powers, I guess they filed bankruptcy, so they have all these properties around town. Is that you or is that more codes? Or a combination of both?
So the codes department is a function of the city, so, it falls through the
I guess
administration.
how does the county, so
County, yeah.
So how does that play in effect? So apparently a lot of the properties in the Bowers own, they own more money than the properties are worth. So what does the county do to step in to take back some of those properties?
The county doesn't, the county only steps in if there's a foreclosure or tax foreclosure. A lot of times in these instances, they're on the 3-year cycle where they come in at the last minute and drop their tax money down on the table. And the county taxes are, for their foreclosures, actually behind the city. So usually in most of these instances, you're not seeing tax foreclosures because they're keeping up the bare minimum on that.
Do you know, just off topic, do you know where they're at right now around town? I know they own roughly, maybe 20 plus properties. I think it was 13 or 14. 13, 14. So do you know where they're at right now as far as if they're behind? Because they own prime properties in certain locations. Where they're at?
They're not behind to a level of foreclosure. Or else we would put it in there.
Let me go before you
So-
say the words. Right.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I just heard about it today, so I wasn't sure, obviously, I spoke quite a bit about this at the last meeting. But I didn't know if the county talked more directly with codes, because it seems to be.
No, so, the county's function with codes is beyond some funding and some collaboration through that. They really don't get involved in city code. Rick, you got anything else?
Yeah.
I think Rick forgot something.
Yeah, I did actually. We'll talk about Airbnb. 800,000, that was the estimate of what will come into the county's revenue. That money can only be spent for specific purposes. It can't go into our general fund. It has to be utilized for quality of life towards visiting bureau, events and activities within our county that will benefit to draw, especially visitors into our area. Because visitors.
So, I'll answer that. So, when we pass the local law for the state to approve it, we need to put what the allocation is gonna be. So, when the county did it, they did it towards tourism, and when the city did it, it ended up being tourism and maintenance and stuff. So it stays pretty broad,
This after Joe.
but the state legislature doesn't approve it unless they feel like they can get behind it as well. I mean, look at both the county and the city ones that have been passed. I mean, there's people that vote against it. It's not just a rubber stamp type legislation, so, but that's the biggest thing there, is they just need an allocation for it. Thank you.
Before we get on to our first candidate, I'd just like to ask everybody to make sure you give our candidates here their undivided attention. They're here to inform everybody and speak to everybody, and they're taking their time out of their personal time. So let's give them your undivided attention, and so we'll get the message across to you. And what I do first is introduce our North Utica Councilman, 6th Ward, Joe Betrus, and he can discuss his upcoming campaign.
Hello?
Hold it out for a second. There you go.
Oh, it's that, Joe.
So the first thing I want to do is thank a guy that wears many hats. He's in the back room there, my second guy. He's me for, this will probably be the last 90% share, but thank you very much, Marty, I appreciate it. So most of you guys know me, know everything about me. There's a lot of people that don't know, so I'll tell you about myself. My name is Joe Betrus. I'm 64 years old. I'm a lifelong North Utica resident. I just got married in July. I have a daughter and a grandson. I run proud Republican, and I'm retired from Coca-Cola. I worked 21 years for Coca-Cola, basically in customer service, and I look at all you guys out here as my customer, and that's probably my strongest point, is answer to you guys what you need. I try to be loyal. I try to do the best thing I can do. This is my 4th time that I'm running, and I've been unopposed for 3 years. That's very good in one way. In another way, when you're competitive the way I am, you'd like somebody to protect you. But I'm glad I'm not that. So I know there's reasons why I don't even call it, but that's fine. I'm glad I'm there. And I've been pretty consistent on my votes. I voted the way it was. I know I voted the last 2 years for tax increases. The first year, I know what was left to the mayor. And last year, I'm very proud of my fellow council people that we actually worked both sides of the aisle. And we got it down to something. I also believe that every year there should be a 1.5% to a 2% tax increase. You might not like that. At the end of the day, you're not going to have what you had after 10 years of no increases. Basically, I'll just talk that quick. 85% of that budget is state mandated increases. So what that means is your police, your fire, your DPW, your CSDA, these guys all have contracts. They're all raised, okay? And you need to raise it a little bit, and then you're not hurting people. You know, I mean, if you go 10 years without an increase, you're going to run into with this mayor and what we ran into. The other thing is we're trying to work on, Mike mentioned it. I know that we have a vet tax coming in that we're going to be able to get on. We're doing stuff with some parking issues. We haven't got to those yet, but they are working. They're coming. And I'm always open for anybody to let me know if they have other ideas. And like I said, my biggest strength is answering my phone and calling you back. And I've been saying it for 7, 8 years. This will be my 7th year. You never go longer than 24 hours from hearing back from me, and usually a lot less than that. Okay, so that's the main thing that I want to do, is take care of you people. Okay, all the other stuff, I'm there. I listen to it, I try to do, I heard somebody who's running talk about sidewalks in North Utica. Anybody who lives in North Utica knows about sidewalks. I heard him talk about feral cats. That was my legislation 7 years ago, and I got nicknamed the Cat Man. I got grilled hard because I was trying to starve animals, and all I said was, don't put food out for cats. And I have to laugh because I just was on Facebook a couple weeks ago. I seen a lady bragging how she look at this little cat that's out here, and the next day she had 7 raccoons on her deck. So that was my point there. It's an issue, it's a problem we need to take care of. Same thing with the homeless. I put legislation in on the homeless to try to do something because our rules of order, you had to have to have legislation in committee, and I was ridiculed for the legislation we put in. So I know where the problems are. Obviously, the problems are roads. We want to keep our taxes at a lower level as best we can. We want to take care of the homeless population that we've never had 5 or 6 years ago. Okay, and like I said, the cats is not me. I love animals, but guess what? If anybody has somebody feeding feral cats next to them, you know what a nuisance it is to the people who take care of the properties. So I understand all that stuff. And like I said, I'm here for you guys. You call me, I'll answer your phone. Even if you're not in my district, I'll direct you to the place. I've gone on different times and stuff with area and helped out. So thank you again. And I guess I'm not using my time, but right? Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, before we jump into meeting the 5 candidates that are running for the council at large, I just want to give you a reminder that next month's meeting on October 27th will also be a meet and greet for the following candidates. We will have county legislative candidates for the 23rd district, Michael Gentile and Anthony Leone. We will have the city comptroller candidates, Michael Sermonaro and Frank Miola. We will have county legislator district 8, Victoria Celia will also be present, but she's running unopposed. And then New York State Supreme Court for the 5th Judicial District candidate, Elizabeth Fortino, will also be speaking. So did you guys get a chance to read all the ground rules for tonight? We're going to give you guys 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. And then we do have a handful of questions from the audience. I'm sure we will have time for more than what we have in the stack over here. You'll have a minute each to answer the questions, and then we'll go from there, see how the time is working, and then you'll also be given 2 minutes for your closing statements, okay? Okay. So up first, we're going to have Jack LoMedico.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. This could be back in North Utica. I raised my voice here. It's been there for over 30 years. And I'm sorry for my neighbors that once again, my name is Jack LoMedico. Long life resident of Utica. Service has been my field my whole life. Right after, I listened to John F. Kennedy as a young man. That's not what your country could do for you, but that's what you could do for your country. Right after that, I joined the Air Force. I spent 4 years in the Air Force. I was an air traffic controller. I was right here at Betrus Air Force Base. After I got out, I went to college, did my degree in sociology, and the Army was interested in seeing me become an officer. So I did another 30 years as an officer. I have 3 combat tours, 2 in Iraq and in Bosnia. I learned a lot. I became a civil affairs officer and retired as a lieutenant colonel. So yeah, a lot of my life has been serving my country, and I'm glad for the past 6 years I've been serving my community. It's very, very important to me. And as a civil affairs officer, you learn to deal with people, you learn to deal with enemies, against enemies, and you learn how to bring them together. Well, working in the council themselves, everybody has a lot of people have different ideas, and I have the ability to get people working together. Take the taxes this year. I immediately set the groundwork, and I voted not to vote for the 2.5% increase. And I think that set a stake in the ground, and the city was willing to, the council was willing to work with us, and we went from over 7% down to 3.1%. And I really appreciate my council working with me on that. So this is the things I try to work with. I try to get people working together. And finally, on this, I always answer my phone, and I'll always give you an answer. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next, we'll have Samantha Colosimo-Testa.
Stitcher servers coming in and they are actually taking out what they did get through. So, hello everybody, I see everybody around the room. I can tell you, being the sixth ward council person, I see the same familiar faces, so I always appreciate you guys coming here and being there for the voices of the people. I was a sixth ward council person. I held that position for 8 years in North Utica. Joe Betrus' biggest issue in North Utica was supposedly a campground, but we had flooding issues, and I know that run to Mr. Briggs, you guys almost said your house is flood away. So to see those changes that with the work that the city has done through the engineering department, that's definitely a big piece of the puzzle that's been alleviated for most of the residents of North Utica. As the at-large person, I took 2 years off. I decided to run as citywide and the council personnel for 4 years as an at-large council person. I'm running my third term. Some of the pieces of legislation that we've been working on. Earlier, I apologize if you get to hear original start of the conversation, but public nuisance abatement. You see vacant properties throughout the city. One of the pieces of the city in revamping that legislation was updating the policy that we've got in the books that's over 20 years old. So I'm happy to say that got passed. There was things that were police department, police department, law department, in order to get that updated and work for our law department and public safety commissioner and whoever else is involved to start hammering down these vacant properties. Obviously, you've heard the budget crisis that the city has had. When I first got on the council back in 2012, something similar had happened. I think it was almost 24% tax increase, jobs were lost. This time around, and we're on a tight thread, but we were able to cut down the tax increase, but fortunately jobs weren't lost, but we're not on the clear yet. What's that mean? You guys are going to talk for another 20 minutes, so I will pass the mic. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sam. Up next, we have Rich Tomaino.
My wife and I have 5 children, expecting our 8 grandchildren today. I was went to Utica schools and community college. I became a firefighter at a very young age, worked for over 28 years. During that time, I had several state and federal certifications. Even before I retired, we purchased and renovated several vacant buildings in Utica, provided quality housing, many affordable housing. In 2014, we opened and renovated a self-service car wash on the 9th Street. We added 2 pet washes and also 6 electric car chargers. Back in 1997, I purchased some land up north. My family and I raised a small herd of bison. We provide locally raised bison meat, whoever wants it. Some other farm products, eggs, maple syrup, honey, all locally produced. I'd like to continue to work for the city again. I retired in 2012. And I'd like to continue my service.
Thank you, Rich. We have Heather Wasielewski.
am Heather Wasielewski, and I'm council at large. I was born in Utica, raised to a single father. My dad was really young when we had me, so we were pretty poor growing up. My dad then passed away when I was 15, and from there I put myself through college. After college, I got a job in retail, and then worked my way up to corporate trainer. I did that for about 7 years, and then I started my own business. I ran it for 5 years, and I liked having my own business. I got married, son, I had a house, had everything I ever wanted when I was younger, but there felt like something was. So I started volunteering in nonprofits, and eventually got a job in development where I wrote grants. There, I got the executive director position at the Youth Food Pantry. Then, while all this is going on, I was approached to start the South Utica Neighborhood Association, which I did. Did that for almost 4 years. After that, I got a job. I started a program called Every Voice. And what Every Voice did was I go into organizations and teach them how local politics works, how to break down legislation, and how to advocate for themselves. And then from there, I got a job with the DNC, where I work as the regional manager of voter protection for 8 counties. So, full circle, I've done my ears, feet, hands, everything, but on the ground for over 10 years. And I'm council at large. My strengths are communication and like to push for things. One of the things I strongly believe about the council is that I don't work for the mayor or the council, I work for you, and that is my commitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And last up, we have Richard Diliberto.
First and foremost, thank you so much for coming out tonight. This crowd is a lot larger than the rescue crowd, so thank you for coming out and support. I'm Rich Diliberto, born, raised, educated in Utica, New York. Grew up on the east side. Was educated locally, went to St. Agnes School. When that school closed, I went over to Proctor for my middle school and my high school. After high school was over, I made a decision of where I wanted to go to school and decided to play basketball and baseball at Utica University, which was Utica at the time. So upon graduating, I majored in economics and finance. Decided to go into sales. Sales was my love my whole entire life. It's something that I've always done. Worked in the sporting goods industry for just shy of about 27 years. About 3 years ago, being in sales for 27 years, went through the COVID outbreak and the pandemic, decided to give up sales and went to work for a nonprofit, ICANN. And he opened up an athletic center in Westmoreland. It was a 60,000 square foot athletic center. It was going to come off the tax rolls. We decided to purchase it and rehab it to keep it for our local youth. My strong points and some of the reasons why I'm running. Being somebody that has worked in sales for 27 plus years, my communication skills are fantastic. I meet deadlines. I get back to people on a timely basis. Going in my 27 years being in sporting goods sales, we went through 3 mergers. Anaconda Sports, DSN, we went through mergers. And like Jack had mentioned, I'm very good at working with people with different personalities and different agendas. Working in the council, being in local politics, you have to be able to do such things. So later on, hopefully I can meet everybody, and if anybody has any questions, we can talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Want to do your raffle right now? There's $48 in the.
Can't get mad if I don't pick your number. It's 513020. Oh, come on, that wasn't rigged. You saw me pull it out.
You know what? No, I never went.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably the best. Exactly. You should get a better.
All right. Okay, now we're gonna go. Now we're gonna go to the question and answer period for all the candidates. We picked up all, people write their questions out on index cards, we picked up, and, picked them out at random, and everybody will ask each candidate the same question, and they'll have 1 minute to answer. So the first question is, actually pertains to North Utica. It's basically about N.U.N.A. Large section, of N.U.N.A. is in bad shape. It's been like that for quite a few years. A lot of the travelers use it coming out with 790. Truck use it, from Oneida County. All of Oneida County, using it to run for a transfer station. What can be done about it? Can the city, by any chance, get county funding to do something with N.U.N.A. Pay it, to fix it up, because probably more trucks in the entire county and Herkimer County use it coming off of 790 to use for a transfer station than just new travelers. Just county, coming council at large. Oh, so I don't have. No.
No, what answer
I was ready.
Really? Let's talk there. Here goes the phone.
You want to check?
From what I heard is most of the traffic is coming from this 790. Okay, well, I would think if they're coming off of 5S, we should bring them down to Tennessee. It will alleviate some of the problems. And then if they're coming down her road, but have them continue and then turn onto Tennessee Street that way, if that's the issue. Now, the county is not going to pay for paving there because it's our responsible. You know, if they want to help. You know, well,
You tell us, Joe.
Sort of, but anyways. All right, so apparently the county's going to kick in. Wait,
No.
I'm going to give it a.
I'll help Jay out. There you go, Joe. I'm just. I'm only kidding. These aren't funny issues, I apologize. One of the big things that happened, I think, back in 2016, 2017 was, there was an asphalt plant that was proposed in North Utica. One of the biggest upsets, I think, in North Utica was not getting that asphalt plant to go there. And one of the biggest concerns with that going there was that there was going to be going in and out. And when we had the developers come there, they had lied originally on their application for zoning, through their zoning application, and they said that there was only 50 trucks going in and out. Well, I had taken a drive out to Waterloo, and they had that same size facility in Waterloo as they did in North Utica. Well, I read on their zoning code application that they had 200 trucks going in and out. So one of the things that was brought up again was because that bridge was deteriorating, that obviously you could not, hold that amount of weight on that facility. So that asphalt plant, one of the main reasons that it got defeated was because, again, they lied. They said that 50 trucks were going in, 50 trucks were going out, 50 trucks were going in, 50 trucks were going out. So there was almost 200 trucks in that vicinity. With that said, it was one of the main highways. We had tried getting the state to come in and help us, and even the city engineering department, is to reroute it through the engineering department for a truck route. And you don't want to have trucks going on that main thoroughfare. Because number one, even down Herkimer Road, I know that people that live on Herkimer Road, they're hitting potholes, their foundations crumbling. So one of the big priorities should be, and especially get a beautiful facility down there in Portofino, everybody goes down to what the drop is. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous place, and it really should be taken care of. And that goes back to the Aloy's question, and that area is really, it really has been, and I shouldn't say just like, oh, but it's also the state's responsibility. We've had to call them a million times, because there's grass overgrown on the bridges. I mean, even going down, there's a bike route there, and the bike route was actually disgusting. I had to call them.
Thank you, Samantha.
Oh, I already ready?
We only got a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, I'll let.
Rich Gilberto?
I'm usually not on the council, so I don't know about that. But I can tell you that obviously last year, the administration did a thing with Michelin Robotics. They went through the entire city and graded the roads from 1 to 5, 5 being the worst. Leland Ave parts of it is 4. Now, the mayor says, we are gonna pave all the 4s and 5s first. So the one thing that I can say is that I know that parts of Leland Ave is a mess. So I will push for that to make sure that the administration does live up to their word when they say that they're gonna repair all the 4s and 5s first.
But it's also a state road, it's not just the city's responsibility.
But it's on the map,
Yeah, but
so,
every road.
I know, but if it's on the map, then we should know that what roads are not gonna be repaired.
We do, but the state needs to come.
Okay, but I'm just saying it's on the map.
Rich Gilberto?
I know that road very well because Ola lives in Skyler. You know, often I used to travel that way because she wanted me to pick up. So, you know, I bottomed out quite a bit, so I do know that it's a problem. It being a state road, I know that we've rated it poorly. We have, council together, we need to go and try to make the state liable, hold them accountable, be a conduit to go after them and make sure that things get done. I know that you're on the council now, and you said that, and we need to get this done. These are the type of things, persistence, going after them to try to make that road be, get repaired is something that needs to be done. One other thing that, could be done is there's grants, I was doing some, research on it, there's a lot of grants out there for infrastructure improvements, for roads, et cetera. I think I mentioned it in my last, meeting that we had in West Utica. We need to hire a grant writer. We need to have a grant writer on staff to go after money that's available, because there is municipalities that are tapping into those resources.
Tomaino?
I too, travel that frequently, and many of you might not know that the fire department uses the training grounds there, which obviously causes more maintenance to the fire service rates. But the only thing I think about that is it needs a total reconstruction with the amount of traffic that's, and the trucks that are going through there. It needs to probably be built like a speed, much deeper, much stronger, better pavement, just so it holds up to that truck traffic.
Won't that get worse with what's going on with, you know, I mean, won't that become a bigger problem with what's going on exit 31 in North Genesee?
And the city did apply for a grant in July 2025 for the Leland Ave redevelopment. That was the infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't remember the exact name. So, I mean, it's obviously, the bridge is going to be, and the state's well aware of this because it's their bridge. And I think part of it was the 90 project tied into the Leland Ave project.
Is that in worse shape?
Let's move on to the next slide. Hey, what were you focused on to keep the property taxes down? Let's start with Samantha.
She's hurt.
You switch seats with her.
Yes.
That would be the general. Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We're already working together. Obviously, we knew that the city budget, and I've got a budget that everybody here can look at. Back in 2022, 23, when I got back on the council, the city looked like it was in good financial shape. The following year, it was, again, a 0% tax increase, and the budget was just a mess. How are you paying for raises? How are you paying for different types of things inside the budget? The following year, there was like a 13, I think like maybe an 11 to $13 million deficit going into that budget year. So one of the things that we have to do is obviously cut back on spending, which we have tremendously throughout the city as far as figuring out which departments need some certain type of procurement policy, so on and so forth. And that's obviously done. We did not have a budget director, or to be a purchasing director, or actually a budget director, 8 months into the end of the last administration's time, which was a huge. Going into that, obviously we talked about the bed tax earlier. One of the biggest, actually, there's three big things that I would like the city to focus on. Is the redistribution of sales tax dollars through Oneida County. I think that's a huge part. I think there's 60,000 residents inside the city, and we deserve more than our fair share than what other outlying areas do. The second part of that is obviously the ambulance service. One of the things is going into emergency transports and working that out with the fire department. And then the last one, I'm drawing a blank on my head, but I know that there was one more, and it's actually another, the
30 more seconds.
All right. Distribution sales tax dollars, the income service, and
Shared services?
no, it was an increase of state aid. The city hasn't seen an increase in state aid. The first time was actually back in 2023, 24, and that was almost like $1 million, which technically if we could be getting our fair share of state aid, it's about $26 million. The city only gets about 16. So that's something that we're really lacking at. We wrote a resolution to the state and hoping that we can get that increase as well, without making a cut in services.
LoMedico, what will you do? What will you focus on to keep the property taxes down?
Well, the first thing I did after the first of the year, when the budget came in, I voted against the percent override. I think what I did by doing that is I let the administration know that like this year. Being that we did do that, everybody decided to come to the table, and we reduced it from over 7% to 3.1%. So by sticking with your guns, you can make things happen and being able to work. Samantha did mention that it would be great if we could put another ambulance on the street. They would bring more money, more revenue, as well as, we have Harbor Point coming up right now. And I think it's important that the administration come up with some ways where we could bring some additional revenues on that. I know we're putting more hotels, we're going to be building some housing units in there, and a couple of restaurants are going to go in there hopefully. So that should actually bring our tax revenue up as well. Is that my 2 minutes?
It's a minute, but we'll give you 30 more seconds if you'd like to finish your point.
So there's a lot of things that we can bring some revenue. We have a lot of houses out there that are urban renewal homes. Now they're saying that we can't sell those houses. Well, I think we can sell those houses. We actually sell them and put the money in the bank, and then earn the interest. If down the road that those people want their money back, we'll give them their money back. At least we're earning thousands of dollars in interest every year instead of letting those houses sit there and rot and decay. Let some other people take them, fix the houses up, and get them back on the tax.
Thank you. Heather, what will you focus on to keep property taxes down?
Some of the things we might want to invest in is places that we already have here in each neighborhood of the city, and nothing more like Utica Zoo. It's something that's really an area that needs help and more support. So it would be great if we could work on with travel and tourism to get more access to the things we have here. We have a ski hill here, which the mayor just said that the motor is fixed on. So those are some good things. We have a skate park that's actually one that you use for competitions. So that's really a big deal. We could actually bring people into the city and have competitions here that would bring in revenue. So those are some of the things I thought about that would bring more revenue into the city.
What I've thought about pretty extensively is we do need to go and get our fair share from the state. Utica City School District, for the longest time, was one of the most underfunded school districts with one of the highest poverty levels. The Utica City School District sued the state and ended up getting pretty flush in cash. And that's why some of the things that you've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, where we just built a beautiful CTE center that's going to be very instrumental in kids, learning the trades. So that's something that we need to do. We got to be smarter with our investments. We have to do planning. When we go and make an investment, the city will make, we need to do the research and everything first before we go and make that investment. You have to look at the budget, and you're going to have to make some tough cuts. And that's a very tough thing to say, but doing efficiency studies, making sure that we are more efficient when we have staff out in the parks, and that we have people working in city offices. There has to be some accountability, some efficiency studies done in that respect. The one thing that no one's talked about is how do we attract new businesses here? We have to support business owners that are investing their hard-earned money, their livelihood here, and making big investments. We have to support them because that's where we're going to get increased sales tax.
Thank you, Rich. Same question. What will you focus on to keep property taxes down?
The sales tax has been addressed. It's the highest, one of the highest in the state. I still tell everyone to shop in Utica. It doesn't make much difference, but I've talked to Sam about how she mentioned
Rich, can you keep it?
redistribution of the sales tax, so we get more. I think we can make more money with our codes department, issuing permits and doing the proper tax assessments. I've had a lot of complaints about people that are doing work on their houses without the building permits. Every time I needed one, I had to go down and pay for the permit. They come check, and usually your taxes go up. That's why people don't go get the permits. The codes department doesn't, I'm pretty sure they're not doing much about that at all. I focus on that.
Thank you. Question is, Samantha, we'll just start with the next one. How would you make the city government more transparent?
1 minute.
I mean, one of the things, obviously, making and I'll preface back a little bit. The city used to have the Observer Dispatch, used to have the daily. WKTV was here briefly. I think because the majority of the time our meetings are live streams, it's a little more accessible for people to see and watch. So that has been a little more helpful in trying to help with transparency. The other parts are the association meetings, getting people here and informing what's going on. I know I find out a majority of the things that I listen to of what's going on in the city, not just from being in government, but from listening to different people on the radio. That's you hear it right then and there. I mean, sometimes obviously if it's happened the day after or something like that, usually get it in the news first or on television or paper, but majority of times your news stations are where you get the majority of information from. As far as making government more transparent, I mean, I know for my personal opinion, I don't hold back on anything that I get to say. So I know that I am the most probably transparent person, maybe too transparent sometimes in my feelings about what goes on inside the city. But with that said, I think definitely come to the neighborhood association meetings. I know Joe does a great job as a representative of the 6th Ward. West Utica, North Utica, South Utica, everybody does a great job of getting people there and what's going on. So I think with that said, I think that's the most important. But as far as trying to be more transparent, again, as a council, I think I've done my part. Thank you.
Yeah. How would you make the city government more transparent?
Well, I think meetings like this and meeting with the candidates is the first step, and really learning who your council people are so you can call them if there's any questions. And the council people need to get out there and meet their people as well. You beat the streets is what I call it. Second of all, I think one of the meetings that really doesn't get covered all that well, is our A&E meeting, where a lot of the expenditures do take place. I think that a lot of things sort of get slipped under the table at the A&E meetings, even though a lot of times that the one mayor will have more people on that than, let's say, usually could get his way through that. I think if that was, maybe televised or something like that, I think that would be well. Unfortunately, like Sam said, we don't have the OD anymore, but we do have the Sentinel, and we do have the radio stations that interview candidates. And I think that is the best way right now. So thank you.
There's still one guy?
So, transparency in government. Right now, we're in the digital age. If you go to the website, the Utica City website, it's very difficult to maneuver around. I was going on there to try to find some information. In the world that we live in today, in the digital world, we need to be a little bit more user-friendly to the younger constituents. We have a North Utica meeting. There's a West Utica meeting. There's a South Utica meeting. I haven't been to South yet. East Utica doesn't even have a forum like this. Well, hold on one second. Okay. In your tenure that you've been on, how many years have you been around? Well, I'm going to ask you, how many years have you been in politics? Oh my God, I'm asking a question. Have you seen a decrease in the amount of people that have come to meetings? You've seen a great decrease in the amount of people that come to meetings. We need to get people in these meetings to get their voice heard. We do not have people coming out to meetings, making their voices heard. You've been around a long time. You've seen a lot of these meetings. We have a fraction of the people that used to come to these type of things. When I was a young kid, they've all played video games. We have to be a little bit more savvy to get these kids to be able to see what's going on in the city limits. We need to be live stream on all our meetings like this right now. Is there a live stream? No. Well, but is there a live stream? How many subscribers do we have?
We're live stream.
How many subscribers do we have on YouTube?
No, because the internet yourself.
Oh. Okay.
So we're constantly, okay.
Lucy, what would you do to make the government more transparent?
Rich definitely hit it with the website. That's definitely a hard one to navigate. I'm also more on social media. But when we talk about transparency, I've been knocking on doors since July 1st. And one of the things is people don't know when there's a plan made for the city, what. So when we talk about we're going to fix homeless, we're going to do any of that, people are wondering, what is the plan? We talk about ideas, things we're going to do in the city, but there's no plan laid out, budget laid out. People don't know what's going on. It's not just the South Utica meetings that don't have people, our neighborhood association meetings, people aren't explaining what's happening. So when I'm knocking on doors, the first thing they say, I don't know what's going on in the city. It's because we're not being told.
We don't have a news.
So, but not just for the news, we do have,
We're just separate.
But I want you to understand that this is my time, so be respectful.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my time, and you guys keep talking during it.
Let's stay on topic.
I did not laughing because I know it was pre-shot, so I wasn't talking. Anyway, it's really important that we get more answers from the administration. People have no idea what is happening.
I'm not gonna repeat what everybody said. I'm just gonna say, if I'm elected, you can call me, text me, email me. If there's something I can find out as far as transparency goes and letting you know something, I'll find out and get back to you.
Okay, this will be our last question before we have our closing comments. What would you do to support the youth community throughout your term? The youth programs in the city?
So I could say one thing, I coached my son in baseball for the last 7 years. I coached him in basketball, I coached my daughter in softball, I helped with football. I can tell you a lot of the youth programs as far as the athletics go. It's a lot of parents in that involvement and trying to maintain the fields, trying to make sure that we're getting the right funding and so on and so forth. So that component in itself takes up a lot of my time. I can tell you that I'm at football Monday through Sunday this week, between that and cheerleading, and they do a great job and work through the Pop Warner. And keeping kids involved, there's a lot of fundraisers and so on and so forth. With that said, obviously back in 2000, that was actually the first 3 months of Mayor Leahy's term. There was a 13-year-old that was shot and killed. And it was a really big divide between the city and the police department and certain communities. One of the things that I will say, and I think this was touched on at the last community forum, was that the city and this administration has put forward couple $100,000, if not more, funds for programs through the youth bureau. They have put funds to help out with after-school programs and information with the Utica City School District. So I think that is something that has been on the force, even with difficult budget times. Working with ICANN, working with different types of organizations from the city, that we have put that on trying to invest in our youth inside the city. And I appreciate the administration for doing it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Seeger, and I know that everybody donates and so on and so forth, but I just wanted to give a special acknowledgement. I teach fifth grade, fourth grade now. I went down for a year inside Utica City School District. I'm at Watts Williams Elementary, which is in Cornell, and Mr. Stevener donated a couple of $1,000 for book bags, full of supplies. So I think it's not just the cities that helps out, it's obviously members of the community. So I just wanted to give you that. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, medical. What would you do to help support have the city support the youth programs through your term?
Well, as Ernie was saying, the city could do a whole lot, but I think it's the people of the city that should come up and support. Money's gonna be there. That's not the issue. We pour a lot of money into jobs. What I'd like to see though is possibly some boys and girls clubs in the area. And I know. There's one down on Lansing Street. We need to bring some boys and girls clubs back and to work on that. So that's something that I'd like to look at. As a parent myself, I did coach youth baseball. And yesterday, during my grandson's Pop Warner football game, I did work the chains, so, and it was a workout. No, it's important. I think we need to get the boys and girls clubs going again. Get these kids off the streets. With good mentoring, good people assisting in money. That's what I would do. Thank you.
Everyone, Misty?
I think we should still continue to invest in the programs that are working in the city, like the City Youth Bureau. That's a great one that they've been working really hard, improving every year. They have a lot of summer programs, they have winter programs, youth employment, all sorts of things. So I'd love for us to continue investing in the things that are working in the city. I think it would be great to have a liaison between the school district and the city so that we can know more about what's going on and ways that we can help the school district with programs. I think that's important. And I think I agree with Jack. It would be great to have a Boys and Girls Club again, or a nice summer rec program for kids to go to. There isn't a lot of a big summer rec. When I was little, that was something my father relied on for me. It was a free program. You could go there for the day, you could go before you went to work, and you could be on. Really important things that we need to consider. It helps kids stay guided. It helps them stay out of trouble. It makes friendships. So that's one of the things I think should. Thank you.
Here's the man.
Good evening. Everything's covered. Back to
Hold the microphone up.
Boys and Girls Clubs. It's a good idea. When I grew up, we had Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, but all those things take parents. You gotta have parents to be involved. So you need leaders direct the children.
That can't change.
Youth engagement is pretty much my life. I've coached Little League for 10 years, 4 years of Little League without having a child that played in the league. So very, very important thing to a child's life is to be able to play sports and participate. Athletics is on the decline. There's a lot less kids playing baseball. There's a lot less kids playing basketball, football, and there's some various reasons. It could be for injury and so on and so forth. Funding. There's so many kids that come through my program over at KCNY that don't have the means to play sports. They don't have the means to sign up for a league. They don't have a place to play. We need to do a better job to find those funds for those kids to be able to buy equipment, for them to be able to play sports, to participate. The Utica Youth Bureau has done an amazing job. Chet LeConte has done such an amazing job with very limited resources. If he had the resources that he should have, he could really take it to the next level. We have summer program at ICANN that is over in Westmoreland. The problem that we have right now, to grow it to where we want to get it, your son has gone to our program, we need to get transportation because our facility right now is in Westmoreland. And the need is in Utica. And that's where we need to really focus.
Thank you, Rick. And now everybody has 2 minutes for the closing statements.
So,
2 minutes.
You don't sit down.
I really wanted to answer the questions from this board since it's okay. So, I just want to tell you, today, when I was writing some notes down because I thought I was going to have questions, but I happened to go through, and when I ran in 2019, I pulled my palm card out, okay? And there was 7 bullet points. In my head, it was so long ago, I don't even know what my bullet points were. And I have to say, all 5 out of the 7 I hit. The one I didn't hit, the guy in the back who puts my signs up, hits me every day on it, was to enforce a weight limit on Herkimer Road, which you can't, basically it's State Route 5, so I'm going to skip that. And the other one was improve funding to the senior center, which we did get some stuff, but it's not the senior center no more. It was bought out, now it's the neighborhood center. So the rest of them I hit, which I'll go from the bottom. One was I promise I'll always be there for the residents in the 6th Ward, which I think I am. The other one was I will help bring Harbor Point to fruition, which we're pretty close and we're going to move farther. The other one was help create a road schedule to keep track of the streets needed to be paved, which never was done. It's done now on that night. The other one was street lighting and improve the street lighting throughout the 6th Ward, which we have all brand new lights. Somebody got a new light put up on their street, I heard last year. And the last one, this will be the last thing I talked about. My main thing was to bring the term limits back to 8 years. Okay? So my first piece of legislation that I put up was to bring the term limits back to 8 years. It said October. Okay? I was asked by certain people who promised if I kept it to January, it would be 9-0. I got to listen to this because I'm resigning. So at the end of the day, it was brought out by a different council person, okay? And they had, the only way they got to pass it is they grandfathered people in, okay? Anybody who ran in 2019 got an extra 4 years, which is me. So I'm going to tell you all right now that this is my 8th year, or 7th and 8th year, okay? And I'm not going to say never, but I'm done after that, even though I can run 4 more years, because I don't think it would be right to do what I campaigned against. So I just want to thank everybody and thank everybody again. And thank you. So, say, and remember, what you guys need to do out here is you need to ask these guys questions. You need to see what they did. You need to see who they support, who they supported, what their plans are, is what you need to do. And from that, thank you again, I appreciate it.
Straight up. 2 minutes.
So I could have ran for an additional 4 years, but I stepped down and gave it to Joe because I thought that was the right thing to do. With that said, I know I eat, sleep, and breathe Utica. I don't think there's anybody that can sit here, or anybody that knows me knows that I'm for the city of Utica. I know that the new administration has been here, they've been here for 18 months, but there's definitely some work that's still left to do. And I have several pieces of legislation that I look forward to continue presenting. One was a graffiti legislation, and there's several other components. And I just want to say really quickly, and I hope this doesn't count towards my time, but Joe Betrus told you he was 64, so you could tell me what he looks after. So with that said, I know there sounds like there's a lot of fighting in the council, but trust me when I tell you, I know from a personal perspective, fighting for myself. I'm fighting because I obviously don't think that there's things that are right going on in the council, especially inside the city. So I'll continue to fight for Utica, continue to fight for the residents of North Utica and the 6th Ward. And it's honestly, it's been working for everybody. Like I said, I've met the majority of you for the past, 12 years, and it's been an honor. So I thank everybody, and I look forward to, and hope I have everyone's vote. So thank you all so very much. I appreciate it.
Greg, Medical?
Well, thank you very much for everyone for coming. I appreciate it. And this is the end of my first 2 years here again on the council. I'm going to tell you a little story and bring it back to what it takes to be a good councilman. All right. During Desert Storm, I just had joined an engineering unit. I knew nothing about the engineering unit. And then they put me over to a civil affairs unit, and I really knew nothing about civil affairs. I never went to the civil affairs course and everything. 2 weeks later, Saddam invades Kuwait, and I end up in Saudi Arabia. They give me a tent, they give me a driver, and they send me out to some 30th Corps support group, and I'm supposed to be a civil affairs officer. I really didn't know anything about civil affairs. So I get there about 12 o'clock at night. I find where the commander's tent is. He's still in the tent there. I go, sir, Captain LoMedico reporting, I'm your civil affairs officer. And he looks at me, he goes, Captain LoMedico, what the hell is a civil affairs officer? All of a sudden the light went on. He doesn't know what I do. So I said, sir, I'd love to brief you and your staff tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. He said, that's a great idea. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So I go in, I hop back in my pickup truck because I still didn't have a tent yet. I said, Boyd, we got a chance here. They don't know what we do. I said, get close. He says, all right. I said, well, let's go to the civil affairs manual and we'll find out some things that we could do here. So we did, we're going to keep the better ones out of the fence. We're going to get some interpreters. So I get all this back together. And I go in, and the next morning I brief the commander. I said, sir, this is what we're going to do. Keep the better ones out of the tent. Bring some interpreters in, put some signs up so the foreign drivers can see where everything is going. And we'll do everything is when it comes to interfacing with the military, with the civilian government. He says, okay, it went great. So when I got back to the States and I had to go to Iraq and I had all this, the commander of this, the first thing I said to him, I says, you're civil affairs people now. I says, what does CA stand for? And they go, civil affairs. I go, you're sort of right. What it means to be completely adaptable. When you're a councilman, you got to be able to work situations that you never had before. You got to be adaptable. You got to be able to work with people. And I think I learned a good lesson through life, being adaptable, being able to work with people. And I'll do that again for you come this next election.
Thank you, Dan.
So knocking on doors has been an honor. We talk about paving roads, we talk about property tax increase, we talk about blight, public safety. Those are all bullet points compared to when you're not opening the doors and listening to what people, how they're affected by these things. So it's really important to me when I get on the council that I bring those voices and those concerns to the table. I communicate well with them and it's for more transparency. It really is something that we do lack. If you're knocking on doors, you're hearing what people are saying. You're hearing how people want their property, their road to reflect their property. You're hearing that they're on fixed incomes and cannot get another property tax increase. They just can't. And they're relying on us to be there for them. So it's really important that every decision that we make it together, but we also, I'm you right now, and I'm wondering and thinking. So I want to make sure that I'm bringing your voices to the council and advocating for you only, not for the council, not for the mayor or anything. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mayor.
My family started here over 100 years ago. I feel fortunate for that because it's a beautiful place. I hope they continue for another 100 years. I'd really like to serve the community again. I promise you, I'll work as hard as I can to do what's right for people.
Yes, Roberto?
Born and raised in Utica, raised my children here. I hope that I have the opportunity to be a part of something where, when my children have their children, that where we stand today is a better place than it was when I began. Mr. Betrus had his bullet points and accomplished near all of them. And I hope that, if I'm lucky enough to be put on the council, that I can make him up like that. To leave the place in better hands, in a better place to live. Anyone that knows me, I've never been involved in politics. I've never been on a campaign. I'm doing this all, out of my love for the city. I'm a coach. I'm a college coach. I see kids that come into the area and I recruit and I bring kids to the college at Utica University and I sell it because it's a place that I absolutely love. I stayed because I love it. I raised my kids here because I love it. And I want them to love it as much as I love it. When their parents come in, I'm the biggest cheerleader. I wear red and black. I wear orange and blue. I'm a Utica man through and through. Many boards, and anybody that knows me know that I'm a high character individual. And no one can say a bad thing about me. Hope to get your vote. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Like I was trying to say earlier, we need to have more of this. We need to grow this. We need to have people believe in their government, want to live here, make their place better. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Before we finish up, Samantha has an announcement today about tomorrow's meeting.
So, a friend of mine who owns a restaurant on North Tennessee Street called me the other day and she said, Sam, she goes, I got an idea. She goes, and I'm hoping you can help me. So tomorrow I scheduled a meeting because I think the harbor's absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't been down there, please just go take a walk. I mean, it's beautiful to be on the water inside the city. With that said, tomorrow I have a meeting at 5 o'clock. We're hoping to plan for an Oktoberfest down at the harbor to bring some people down there. So I know I can't do it by myself. I posted on social media. I sent a newsletter out to the news, and hopefully that we can get some people to help out. So if you have time tomorrow, it'll be 5 o'clock at City Hall. And it's just a start of a discussion to see if that's something that we can put to fruition on the third or fourth week in October, it'll be October 25th. So if you have time tomorrow, please, I would appreciate it if you can. If you know somebody that wants to come, let them know. We'll be there at 5 o'clock. So that's all I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to open it up to the public. If anybody has any questions. Chris?
So we spoke about this in West Utica, about Broad Street for affordable housing, it's about $100 million, Ovalston about 64, the new art space about 20 million. I have a problem with it being affordable. You know, if you talk about Broad Street, it's roughly 600,000 a unit. Everybody in the audience tonight, how expensive is your home? Is it more than 600,000? That's what affordable housing is. Art space, 425,000. Mr. DeBerto, you had said something about your own home on Knott Road. You said you wanted to get new windows. You're like, well, I can't yet because I have the budget for it. That's a logical thing to me. So when the city of Utica says this about affordable housing, what is affordable? About 600,000 for one unit. So I was hoping that everybody can maybe touch on that as far as affordable housing and grants.
So this was one of a big pet peeve of mine. We get a resolution or a request from the municipal housing, which is People First, which the former mayor sits on the board, and that's part of his project. Brings to the council that they want to invest $100 million to building on Broad Street to rehab it, and another parcel building. I forgot where it was. One of my biggest pet peeves, again, being on the council, is you want to talk about investment. Imagine what $100 million investment would do to neighborhoods. You talk about sidewalks in North Utica, you talk about multiple things in throughout the city, lighted homes. One of my biggest theories that I've always enjoyed reading and referencing is the broken windows theory. And it really bothers me that the city invested, and I think, you remember you touched base, and I think it was like $560,000 a unit. So $100 million investment went into, I think it was, and I actually read up on it, and I ended up finding out that it was like less than 100 apartments. And to me, that's really frustrating. And everyone says, well, you can only use that investment towards, certain type of housing. If you went to the state and you said, hi, I want to, rehab, 30 homes in Utica, can I utilize those funds? You could do that. And for somebody to say that you can't, show me where you can. So what Mr. Stevens bringing up is a very important issue to myself. I did not vote for that housing project, not because I didn't want to house people, not because I wanted people displaced. I just thought a $100 million investment could have been a lot better inside the city of Utica, especially if you get neighborhoods.
One more question tonight from Ron, and then we got to close it up.
It's not so much a question, it's a suggestion. Leland Ave, a lot of talk going on tonight about that. You got two bridges. One goes over the thruway, one goes over the canal. That belongs to the state. That's their responsibility. Big traffic going up and down, tearing that road all the heck. There's a lot to do with the garbage trucks and everything going down to the waste. That's Oneida County Herkimer Waste. They should be responsible for repaving that road with a concrete base. Every town and village in the Oneida County has a county road that gets maintained, plowed, cleaned, and everything else. The city of Utica does not have a county road. Let Leland Ave become Oneida County Road. Let them take care of it and pay for it.
I agree, especially.
Is there besides Samantha wants to answer?
I mean, like I said, I agree. It's 110%. Ron goes to more meetings than probably half the people in this room, so he knows more than anybody. Joe, since it's your district, you need to get the top. You want to finish that conversation?
All right, thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight, and we'll see you next month.